old as an archdiocese.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful, great. So that sets my platform for the discussion. You were launching a 10-year strategy plan. Where is the launch taking place in the first place?
It's taking place in Tamale,
Okay.
at the Ali Omama Sports Stadium.
Okay.
That's where this launch will take place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what the team?
The team for this occasion is mobilizing for the transformation of the Archdiocese of Tamale through evangelization, peace building, and sustainable development.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, this is the theme you've chosen. Mobilizing for the transformation of the Archdiocese of Tamale through evangelization, peace building, and sustainable development. Mouthful, loaded. What went into this kind of choice for the celebration? It's the launch, if you like.
Thank you. Congratulations also.
Thank you.
And our strategic plan is being launched on your birthday tomorrow.
Fantastic.
We wish you happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
And we take this opportunity to invite you to the launch. You are 86 years. A number of things went into the team and also the strategy. First and foremost is sustainability. The church is going on a self-reliance campaign.
Wonderful.
The church no more gets funding or money from Rome. It no more gets benefactors, and the church has to live by itself. Two, the church needs to evangelize people, and evangelization has to do with, socio-economic benefits. It has to do with well-being of people. It has to do with the spiritualism of people. And to quote one of the bishops in charge of the Bank of Rome, the church has gotten to where the church must not live on only Hail Marys alone also.
Wonderful. That's deep.
Yeah. Once the church is not living on only Hail Marys alone, it has to plan, it has to generate resources, it has to manage the resources, then it can be on its way towards self-reliance. And that was why we chose a whole system transformation, a whole system transformation method of working on a plan. And my organization, Jaksali Development Organization, partnered with College for Community and Organizational Development, a university based in Sunyani. It is an OD university, and we use the whole system transformation where we bring everybody in the diocese involved to develop a plan such that people in the diocese, parishioners in the diocese, can walk and move along with it. So this has been going on for the last 1 year.
Okay.
We started with the leadership, and we did an appreciative leadership and executive coaching program for the leadership. Then we went to an alarm, which is known as the appreciative leadership and resource mobilization. Then we went to a summit. In that summit, we brought close to over 300 people across the diocese, and they came and decided on what they want to do as a people over the next 10 years. That's why the mobilization, the peace, the evangelization, and the building and the sustainability.
This is super. that tells me that this is a living church, because it's a church that really lives to according to the changing trends of the world. So definitely don't have their church. I mean, you're moving forward. That's great. So coming to you now, Reverend Father Gerald. Within this period of time, prior to this launch or the idea to have this agenda, what has been some of the issues that really called for this kind of exercise?
Thank you very much for the question. One of the issues that call for the need to do this strategic plan is the fact that, as Mr. Jeremiah just explained, we cannot continue to live based on what people do for us, but to have a mentality that we can do it. to have a mentality that we have grown as a church and we need to be a much more vibrant and self-sustaining church. A church that evangelizes is on its spiritual needs, a church that can promote people more. And so that is one of the reasons why we are embarking on this wholesale, all-inclusive strategic plan that will turn things around and that will make us much more stronger than before. That we don't have to sit and wait for people to do things for us, but that we have grown to a point that we can do things on our own and we can do it and to sustain it and let things work for us, not waiting for any other person. And so as he mentioned, some of the issues that came up from the strategic plan includes strengthening the church's social, economic, and spiritual activities to be much more stronger than before. We're doing it, but now we are looking at it from a holistic approach where people can benefit more. People can also own the church. So one of the mission that we have is that to make the Archdiocese a very vibrant church, a very self-sustaining church through spiritual activities and also human promotion. Yeah.
Wonderful. So within this period of time, this agenda you're launching, do you have it in stages, i.e. long, medium, long, or the long stretch, 10 years plan?
Well, it's a 10-year policy. Call it a mission, call it a plan, call it a vision. But it's in 10 sectors.
Okay, fantastic.
Health, education, pastoral care, agriculture and climate change, youth development, women development. These 10 sectors in the strategic plan is not going to happen in a day. People will tell you in this current time that we live, you don't even need to do a 10-year plan. But we have a 10-year policy. In that policy, we are going to look at a yearly basis, how far we have gone for the year in the 10 years. We assess it. And our system of developing a policy, the whole system approach, is to work with the owner of the plan. So we're going to support the Tamale Archdiocese, CCOD and Jaksale are going to support the Tamale Archdiocese to work on an implementation plan and a monitoring plan, so that they don't launch the plan tomorrow and go and leave it in their archives. There's going to be an implementation, and already we've put in place a transformation team. Fortunately, he's not just the coordinator, but he's also the transformator. So he's going to lead and make sure that the 10-year things we put together will happen day by day, hour by hour, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, and we will get onto that process.
That's it. So how are you engaging for want of a better word, the ordinary Catholic in Tamale? Permit my using that word. A member of the church to understand some of these things, so they come along with you.
When we started with this whole strategic plan right from the beginning, we started with the leaders of the church, that is the Archbishop and then the priest. Then we came to another workshop that involved representatives from the various parishes. And these were to form part of it so that they can go back and equally organize these workshops in their various parishes. And so parishes were given that knowledge as to how to organize this. They were supported with material so that the information seeps down to the ordinary parishioner or the ordinary person in the parish. This has happened, and then we came to the summit. The summit was where a bulk of the ideas now came, and then we started serious working towards now coming out with the strategic plan that will involve everybody.
Wonderful.
Now, when this whole document, now that we've finished together and tomorrow we are going to launch it, we are bringing many people from the parishes to this launch, and at this, parishes will be giving copies of this, And as he said, yeah, we're not going to stop there. The implementation process starts. And then there parish priests who have already been enlightened about this, then parishioners themselves, the lay faithful of the archdiocese who have been involved in this, then the transformation team from the various sectors of the archdiocese, these will all now go and support in the implementation process to ensure that the needed transformation come about in the end. That the church that we desire to have in 10 years to come, that we really get there.
Wonderful.
So a lot of people have been involved in this, and then parishioners also were not left out. They come, they learn something, and then we encourage them to go and then do the same in the parishes.
Wonderful.
And so this has gone on for some time now till now.
Yeah, before I ask both of you for your final words, how did you communicate to them? Did you use the same English language, or you want to local for them to understand really what the issues are?
Okay, so from us as consultants and facilitators, the whole system transformation involves everybody from the grassroots to the top.
Sure.
Currently, the implementation has also started. Since Peter and Paul have started developing their own parish strategy.
Okay.
Our Lady of Fatima, Kamina, have started developing their own strategy.
That's good.
And that's what we're going to do. There are 18 parishes and 22 institutions in the diocese. Each of these will develop their own strategy out of the bigger strategy. So they feed into. So that's how our whole system transformation works. And it involves everybody. And when you go down to the parishes, it is done in the various languages. Societies are involved, groups are involved, communities are involved. Then they take it up. So the strategy, like I said, is going to be everybody. We are all involved.
Great.
We are going to do it in Tabani, we are going to do it in Dagare, we are going to do it in Gonja, we are going to do it in Sasa.
I see.
So everybody is going to be involved.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. So Reverend, let me hear your final words before we wrap up this segment of the discussion.
I want to thank you and congratulate you once again, GTV, for this great opportunity. We never thought we could come this way, but you gave us the opportunity. So I want to congratulate you once again on your 86th birthday. I want to also use this opportunity on behalf of the Archbishop to thank the consultant, CCOD, Dr. Gabriel Bernakum, who I believe would have been here with us, but he's already on his way to Tamale to get things moving for tomorrow.
Yes.
And also thank his co-worker, his co-consultant, Jeremiah Seydou, whose organization, Jaksali, has played a very tremendous role in this.
Great.
And I want to also use the opportunity to thank all parishioners, let me say, lay faithful of the Archdiocese who have really worked hard, and we still encourage them to work more to ensure that what we have begun and coming to this and about launching it tomorrow, that will be the great moment to set off with full passion and zeal so that our dream come true.
Great. Final, let's go then. About 30 seconds for you.
Yes, my final words on behalf of the consultant and facilitation is that, one, we are giving you a gift on your birthday. We are offering to offer you a whole system transformation for free.
That's great.
GBC. We will, CCOD and Jaksali, let's talk. We will offer you a whole system transformation for free. That's your birthday gift.
I see.
We also believe in OD. OD is sharing knowledge and resources. We want to share the knowledge and the resources we have with you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank my family, especially my little daughter, Mantenzo. She has been an inspirer to me to do crazy things that sometimes I see. And also to invite GBC to the launch tomorrow at the Aliu Muhammad Sports Stadium at 10 a.m. sharp. Time is money.
Great.
Good morning.
Good morning. Incidentally, GBC is also going through some powerful, line of transformation. So we are moving from bureaucracy to business, and it's tough. It's being so engineering and it's forward-looking. result-oriented. And trust me,
He made the comment this morning that this place looks like outside Ghana. That everybody,
at the beginning,
everybody
I
seems
was
to
so
be
tired.
concerned.
This is
So
just the
when we
beginning.
add the whole system
That's right.
transformation, it will be wow.
Fantastic. So good morning, Director General, Professor Amin Al-Hassan. We're here doing what you asked us to do anyway. So that's been our discussion with the Jeremiah Seidu, who is a facilitator and consultant to the 10-year strategic plan of the Tamale at the Ghana Kali Bishops Conference strategic plan, which will be launched tomorrow at the Ali Mahama Sports Stadium. Thanks very much, Jeremiah, for being here, and also Reverend Father Gerald Diana, who is the coordinator to the strategic plan. Also, he represented the Archbishop of Tamale, and so I'm sure Archbishop will be watching this morning. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for your time this morning. So the show is still on. It's the reunion, the homecoming, and it's also commemorating GBC's 86th birthday, which happens tomorrow. And trust me, today, Friday, 30th July, some wonderful things are going to happen. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
Baby, I don't know. I just say, oh no, oh no, anyone, Nana Kwame, better say, oh, Toma mitieno na me ho premise anka me ye penyintemo na me anka sa me di me ho so e wa brabo imo esa sana penyi ye wo we e ya die bia e ya pa oni pa ne yo bere ya oni pa ne yo bere ya Toma mitieno na me ho premise anka me ye penyintemo na me anga sa me de me so e wa brabo emu eso sana me ye we e ya de bia e ya pa oni pa ne yo ya oni pa ne yo ya anyone nana kwa me bedo say baby, I don't know. I just say, oh no, oh no, oh better. Anyone, Nana Kwame, better say, oh bra, oh bra, oh bra. Anyone, vampire, so you say, oh bra. Baby, I don't know. I just say, oh no, oh no, anyone, Nana Kwame, say, oh bra, oh bra, oh bra, anyone, I'm by you, say, oh bra, oh bra, oh bra. Oza semona awanka mamenso mankanche amanika banda mensa arehusem ifinga enche akuna mensa awanka mamenso mankanche amanika banda mensa arehusem ifinga enche akuna mensa ewa miengwe kama minka oza semona Oza semuna ibili awankama mesu mankanche abane kabana mesa arehosem ifia enche hankafuna mesa awankama mesu mankanche abane kabana eche hankafuna misa. Enyi misha abankabana misa. Ishamechi polisi fuzi mechu FAB Sunday yeah if you Edwinde if you eche hankafuna misa. Iwa mi enko Nama mika otra semonombi Nama mika otra semonombi Awa kama mesumanka chirapa kabada misa Arosem Ifia enche hankafuna misa Awa kama mesumanka chirapa kabada misa Arosem Ifia enche hankafuna misa Namabika onza semunambi Namabika onza semunambi Awa kama misumaka chirapaka bada misa Arrahosem Ifia enche hankafuna misa Awa kama misumaka chirapaka bada misa Arrahosem Ifia enche hankafuna misa Enyi mishano Abankabana misa Ishamechi Polisi fuzi mechi FAB Sunday Media ifi Edinde ifi Eche hankafuna misa Iwa miyenko Kama bika Ota semunambi Kama bika Ota semunambi Awa kama misumanka chirapaka bada misa Arrahosem Ifia eche hankafuna misa Awa kama misumanka chirapaka bada misa Arrahosem Ifia eche hankafuna misa Amika oza semunami Kama menga oza semunami Awa kama mesumanka apandika misi Arrahosem Ifia eche hankafuna misa Awa kama mesumanka apandika banda misi Arrahosem Ifia eche hankafuna misa Tiye abuwa bi wo ho wo friend Efubongo Efubongo so didi me yansebe onse dikiti no ye Dakwa no baby na Ejabonyansafo Okache Efubongo de Efubongo Abazit awokote te itise yakwasi adekote ne ubrebo Se anje na bidia Eza se mudambe Wampaye ngo Edwinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo Edwinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo Edwinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo 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 Say abuwa bi wo ho Wo friend Efubongo so didi me ansebe Onse adekote no ye Dakwa no baby na Ejabonyansafo Okache Efubongo Abazit na awokote te itise yakwasi adekote ne ubrebo Se anje na dreya Eza se mudambe Ambaye Edinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo Edinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo Edinderi yemi Sanderi ye warawo 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 Sanderi ye asemi wo yamarebe Biyankoba 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 yamarebe Asemi wo yamarebe
Right, I'm sure that we all enjoy this music which I call traditional. When you're 86 years, there's some kind of music you enjoy.
Sure.
And I'm sure that these young men who smile always into the camera are just great. I mean, there's a one certain third from my immediate left, and he is great. He keeps on smiling. I say, what has he eaten this morning, me? The guys are laughing.
Seriously, you make smile. I mean,
yes, of course.
I mean, part of your life.
I think so.
You know, so
I understand that. Well. I'm sure that yes, we're going to go into the paper review, but I just wanted to tease off. You know, I was just, I'm just admiring the pictures of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta and the bag. I call it a destiny bag. I don't know whether he was posing. Right? I mean, just look at it. I mean, I thought he was posing. He was especially posing.
I think he was posing. Actually.
I don't know. I just lifted it up like that. Actually, guys, cheese, I'm here.
Everything is here.
Everything is here.
That's right.
Good. And it's always a brown bag. What happened? What do you know about the brown bag?
I need to find out the if you like the mystery behind the color brown first. There are no
yes.
It goes around the brown bag.
He's always in white.
Yes.
Which for me is a sign of victory. Yes. Spotless white, that's the adjective. Yeah. It's a sign of victory, and he has his bag. And every time he comes out of the bag, everybody goes like, oh, what's in there? Yeah. Taxes, goodies, jobs, what is it? So I'm sure, if I had the opportunity to talk to him yesterday, I would have said, Uncle Ken, what is in this bag? Tell me before you go read it.
You have to ask him.
If it's good, yes, I'll come and listen. If it's not, please. And I understand that this budget is not as controversial as, but I'm just waiting for my panelists to come. Yeah. I've got something up my sleeves. I'm going to hold it. Yes, I'll just hold it to my chest. But what's important for now is the fact that, this budget is, promised lots of jobs. They put in a strategy not to, increase taxes. They want to ensure that there's fiscal discipline. Yes. And according to him, rather than increase taxes, they rather have to seek leakages and ensure that they're on course. That's for me, a sum what he was trying to say yesterday.
Sure. I mean...
Or what he said yesterday.
Sure. In this sense.
Yes.
But the leakages have been there for years.
Yes.
Governments after governments, And so for me, we are going to a place where we speak about minimal leakages.
Right.
Minimal.
Right.
Because for all these years, we speak about leakages, slippages, and all that. Right. And so it's not bad for him to say so, as a way of reassuring us that. But we go back to what people talk about, widen the tax net. Every time widen the tax net.
Yes.
Every time widen the tax net. It will break one day.
I've forgotten that you used to be on the business desk.
Oh yes.
So you're then, of course, good. So you have to just open it up and so that you can catch a lot of people. As it sounds like once you say net, you're talking about catch, isn't it?
That's it.
So they bring in a lot of people. So that is what I think that I'm not an economist, but that's what I see the finance minister do. He says that, look, I want to open it up.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to increase it. So everybody, if you are brought in, you're still going to pay what is required of you to pay. And then the discipline and compliance.
That's very essential.
I hear there's a revenue compliance office now, in the GRA, so that they are just going to enforce it like policemen, ensure that. But it's certainly not a situation where they're walking in and they say,
already.
Oh, really?
They've started work.
I'm not sure they've attacked you anywhere.
No. I pray so.
Yes. No, of course you have to pay all your taxes. And I know you pay all the taxes, I'm aware, and all that. It's interesting how sometimes, as Ghanaians, we have this legal obligation. Some don't want to pay taxes, making good money, they want to dodge taxes. And I'm wondering how they think that we pay the police. I'm wondering how they think we pay the men and women in uniform. Exactly, infrastructure. We're always complaining that our schools are, are not well equipped, and yet we don't want to pay taxes, and we're wondering where government is. We can't always go on borrowing.
You're right. Right. I sometimes think that, you see, whenever we compare ourselves to the Western countries, they have tangible, if you like, evidence.
Right.
To show.
Right.
In respect with what their taxes are used for most of the time.
Oh, right,
okay. You hardly hear about some of these corrupt cases here and there, and so it's easier for the citizens there to pay.
Okay.
Sometimes in that part of the world, it becomes a bit murky and blurred. You're unable to trace what exactly that money has been used for. So for me, sometimes it's
I see where it comes
for people
to relate.
Exactly.
That they take taxes
sometimes.
But you see, when you sleep in the night, I mean, where I live in part of the central region, sometimes you're in your bed and you can just feel the presence of the police all around you.
That's great.
They just drive past, sometimes twice.
Sirens and
this is what they do
with the monies.
Then I say, my tax is working, isn't it?
Great.
Yes. So if someone doesn't see that, it doesn't see portable drinking water, he says, so why are you taking taxes from me? Because I can see its conversion in the amenities that I'm supposed to be enjoying. But hey, let's pray that as we pay, we have men and women with integrity. Exactly. So that they will feel God in their lives, to say that we have a responsibility equally to ensure that these taxes are, What my producer promised this morning, and if you heard him, I heard him. He says that he wants us to do a throwback. Yes. And look at, past presenters and all that. And I think that that's going to be news. Exactly. Remember the last time I left Breakfast Show was
before we do that, before we do that, Kwame, I think that talking about this tax issue is a reason government is trying to harmonize identities like your information, your data from licenses, from, passports, from Ghana card, and all the other cards, so that it will be easy
to trace.
Good. It's one of the steps that have been taken.
And some, we hear more of the political conflict and quarrels in social media than we trump these things. And I think that as citizens we should be interested in how we help anybody who is governing bring in the taxes.
That's right.
Than always conflicts. Yes, conflicts, we can't avoid them. But as long as we don't share the same political culture and ideology,
they will always be there.
We will always quarrel. Exactly. But I'm saying that in the midst of all that, let's ask ourselves the question, are we actually are the people paying the taxes? Someone will say, oh, well, you don't pay me well, so I won't pay taxes. But that's not true. No. You pay so you can build infrastructure for your children and your grandchildren. But I like this harmonization you're talking about. I like this harmonization you're talking about.
So you were on the floor, Kwame.
We're talking about throwback of past presenters. And my boss he's up there shouting and saying that we want to bring them back so that you can see them. Sure. And I'm sure that it involves persons like you, great guys like you,
and greater guys.
No, come on, no.
John Waja.
Mr. Waja. Yes. All right, okay. So we're going to go back there and then we'll see what our producers have. When we come back, we're going to make the comments on it. Me and I are here to hold the floor. So please stay tuned, don't go away.
Never think your favorite TV personality no more began from nowhere. Every single one of them had a starting point. In the past, male newscasters on GTV were few. This man was one of the few who became a household name in Ghana. Meet Ebenezer Ampabe.
Of a leading political party, a group of armed men identifying themselves variously as the Command of National Dignity and Command 40.
This gentleman was an announcer. If you don't know who announcers were, watch Ni Odate Lamte and you will understand.
I thought it's only the truth that gives a shock. Well, I may be wrong, but let's find out what sort of shock we're talking about on Adishi Drama Group on Akan Drama coming up next.
Meet Akushika Akwe.
Good evening, this is Ghana Television and this is the news. You're welcome to our studios.
This is Barbara Gazy.
Today has witnessed another fall in oil prices after...
Do we as a people, do we really...
She was one of the household names in Ghana. This was Gifty Auntie on Breakfast Show. She rose to become the Deputy Director General of GBC. She is currently Ghana's ambassador to Turkey. This is Francisca Ashite Oduntun doing what she loved best.
One of the most important national policy issues facing every country today is finding the balance between her population and the resources available to sustain it.
Talking about the Big Breakfast Show, Kate Ado, Gifty Auntie, Elakra and Akushika Akwe were the age. Check them out.
Gifted Dansu Auntie, to our numerous viewers, we say thank you and Afishapa. Kate Ado, on this note, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Stay blessed. We thank God for the gift of a smile. It is Christmas. Merry Christmas. Good morning.
I'm sure you saw your favorite news anchor in there, who holds a special place in your heart. These news anchors may have retired, but they still live on within the annals of broadcast journalism. For GBC News, Hega Owusu reporting.
Okay. Come on, did you see that? I thought of yesterday. I mean, I looked at you and I said, well, I can give glory to God. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes.
It means there's a marked improvement.
Oh yes, I mean, all glory to God.
And I wish that Kate were here this morning.
She promised passing through
to see how what she used to look like. And now what she looks like. I mean, what it means, therefore, is that there's growth.
Exactly.
You are a living organism and you must always grow.
Sure.
I mean, can you imagine, after so many years, you still look like that? Then I'm sure the biologists will call it stunted growth.
Yes. And some questions coming.
Who is that? That is me.
Oh,
is that you?
Why are people doing this?
Look at that.
Who's that?
That's you.
Me?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. I'm sure our producer is going to give me knee somewhere. Oh my goodness, come on. You look handsome. You said Kwame. Well, interesting.
They seem to be focusing on this guy.
Yes. Oh, Charlie. You guys have come a very long way. And
God has been good.
You know, I think that the breakfast show has been for God and country.
Oh yes.
I recall when Beatrice Sedu,
yes,
first host, if you recall, on the breakfast show.
Yeah, sure.
She was sitting in a red couch, and that's the way she started the program. Yes. I recall vividly.
Yes.
These are some of the giants of this newsroom, and you know, we can't just sit here today and pretend that they didn't walk through this, but they did, and this is a foundation they built.
That's right.
As we transition into a new era, we can only wish those who are coming in Godspeed, strength,
yes,
dynamism, creativity, and all that,
and the best of
everything. Yes. They should come and hold the forth.
Yeah.
You know? It has always been like that.
Sure.
But once in a while, I'm sure that you'll be around to help them, support them.
When we are called to do so, why not?
Right, okay. So, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to go for a commercial break, take a breather, come back, and then we can just move back into history. Please stay tuned. It's 86th anniversary GBC. Don't go away.
Great.
Where's the washroom? I cannot use it. No.
Get yourself the privacy you need to conduct that private business today. Get a DigniLoo toilet. It is safe, clean, convenient, affordable, and very durable. It caters for the toilet needs of all your household. No need to spend money on any expensive structure. DigniLoo. No set, no queue, no shame.
That's going to be a laughter, not a smile. Well, we're going to start with the newspaper review aspect of the breakfast show, and whilst I'm waiting other guests to join me this morning, let's see what we have with our new lady who has just joined us on the blog. Joyce, you're welcome to the breakfast show. I was just sitting here thinking that I'm not going to see Joyce. The name is just in black and white, but I'm not going to see her. I didn't know you were the one seated there. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
And I know you know what we're going to discuss.
Sure.
Today is just going to be on the budget.
Sure.
Good. Now, can you give me your reflections? What were you expecting? Assuming that the budget had not been read, what would have been your expectations? So tell me.
Thank you very much.
Yesterday by 6 a.m., what were you thinking?
Thank you. Let me say good morning to yourself, your crew, and our viewers. And thanking the Lord for giving us an opportunity to live.
Good.
Let me say good morning to Mr. President and his team.
The beautiful thing. So just go ahead. Come on, let's go ahead.
Yes, the budget. As of yesterday, my expectations were that I knew. Let me say, is that expectations or my thoughts were that, yes, there was nothing, there was not going to be any new thing being levied on Ghanaians. There was not going to be any kind of disappointment. I knew the budget was going to give us.
Sorry to cut in, but I'm expecting your sister Nana Adubia Granting, the Deputy Communication Officer at Greater Accra NDC. So she should join.
My nurtured sister.
No, this sister is no problem. So let's play.
So there were the views, the opinions, the thoughts, the things that were going through my mind. I knew, and I was not surprised when it was read. You know, our expectations as Ghanaians down memory lane has been every mid-year review of the budget has been supplementary budget, income, tax, revenue imposed on people, government going to ask for more money for spending. But this is the case. We found something different, altogether. That's to tell us that yes, the finance minister knew what he was about, knew the predicaments of Ghanaians. For the unfortunate global pandemic we're going through, COVID-19. So it was a way to bring relief and give hope to Ghanaians that all is not lost. We still have a lot to do as a government, as citizens, collectively, to make sure that we see and honor the fortunes of the country.
So Joyce, let me ask you, of course, you're giving the highlights and your expectations and what you were not surprised about and all that. Haven't you had hints of people, of course it's going to happen, but haven't you heard people say things that are negative so far? You haven't heard anybody say anything negative? And what did they say? And do you think that they were justifying in saying that?
Of course, you see, even in our homes, we still have people, you have your children, you have relations who comes and tells you, look, the things, the expectations are not being met for no fault of theirs. It is their rightful comment to make. It is where you set what you see, your projections, and the benefits that will lead to you saying one thing or the other. We will not shy away. We shouldn't run away from the fact that there are challenges, and challenges remain with us. Today, you get a blue pen. Tomorrow you would have wished you have a black or red to add up or change. And that is it. As humans, day in, day out, we always want more. Our needs, our wants. In fact, when you want to compete, it gets to a point we get confused. At which point we need something or there should be a want. We box them together and we see that we go chasing, which is rightful of every human being, because you need to pledge your expectation way above where you are. Today I work and I earn a salary of 1,000. You don't expect me to go do with the 1,000.
One more.
I want more. Okay. Because there are more things I want to do. There are more stretch I want to cover. So therefore I will need more.
Okay. So that is why you think people will
yes, definitely. And you understand that when you ask people, and wasn't last week or two we saw the people our youth queuing at Elwak to get enlisted to the army. And you look at the number, yes. People will say, where are the jobs? Yes. The government inherited a backlog of about 2 million youth
Right.
Even if government should have employed about 1.8 million,
right,
the number 200,000 is not a small number to joke with.
Okay.
Even if there are 50 people out there
jobless,
it should still be a worry to us as government and as citizens.
And every day the system chase them out.
Thank you.
I get it.
You understand? You have a backlog you meet. You're also turning people out of school. They also have to get employment. So you end up seeing that the system itself is not playing so favorable to the youth. Government is doing, we all know, government have brought in a lot of initiatives, a lot of projects, a lot of programs. But you see, today maybe I'll be looking out to be a teacher. But my thinking and my expectations is not just to end it. I want to attain.
So you think that, I mean, before I come into the nitty-gritty, the detailed bits of the budget, you think that sometimes our expectations are either too much? Because sometimes, assuming you have kids who come and say, look, I want an iPhone. I don't want an Honor Samsung. And you're like, come on, you know how much...
In life, we all have expectations.
So I'm saying that you don't think that sometimes it's fair?
You know, at what point you meet that child and whether you have the capacity to meet the request. And there are times even we know, as a Christian, the good book, we go asking God for something and you get so frustrated, you get so stressed up that it's not coming. It is because I would say as a believer, I know that God is telling you it's not time, the time is not right for you to have it.
So your expectation,
so there are times we need to manage our expectations.
All right, okay.
We need to manage our expectations. It is right for every human being to have expectations.
Right.
But at what point
okay,
do you meet your expectations with what you have?
Okay. All right, I understand that. So that, but I wanted the statement that human beings by nature would make demands.
Demands, of course.
And sometimes some of the demands we make are unfair. That's what I wanted, because the reality is that because you are trying to distinguish between what we want at a certain time and what we actually need. But this budget hasn't met our needs, not our wants, but our needs.
You see, depending on where you stand.
Oh, you tell me where you stand.
That I'm going to drive by and
right,
I say, look, at any given time, somebody will go for it or be against it. You see, you should be able to tune your mind to know. I will say, this is a perfect, look, we couldn't have had any review, any budget review
better than this.
Better than this.
All right, okay. I don't think that, you know, the government should have done better than this.
Look, you see,
given our circumstances,
I'm happy you added given our circumstances.
I'm always looking at myself as a parent.
The global pandemic.
Yes, COVID-19.
COVID-19. Yes. The world giants, super giants are even struggling. Today, even more than since 1960s, UK have to do about 97.6% against their GDP.
Right. They didn't hit the 100%.
They didn't hit. If Britain now can go for a loan of about 2.2 trillion pounds, they are questioning that. And USA, with Biden coming in, realizing the downfalls and the shortfalls, went for it. Let me get you the right figures. I don't want to chance.
So don't you worry, but
so you can realize that
everybody's in trouble.
Everybody, the whole world, the whole globe is in trouble.
I know.
The whole globe. Today, Japan for all, and other countries, Canada, just name them.
Right. Okay.
Everybody.
Then the finance minister talks about a jobless economic growth. Now, that's what he says we have to avoid. So that he then creates structures to ensure that enterprises, they being public or private, are giving the needed support so that they can employ. Then that is a way of siphoning the excess hands that we have in the system. Now, let me ask you, is there any creative way that jobs are counted in this country? Because something like 3 million jobs. I said, so where are the 3 million people? I ask myself, maybe I'm ignorant about lots of things. So I want to say 3 million jobs was created in the past. Why are we still talking about creating some 2 more million jobs? For who again?
You see,
so let's look at the economic
census that's underway will come out with the right figures, projections, and don't forget, government has statistics and things to guide them. You look at the backlog of youth unemployment. You look at the number of youth. You know, the growth of every country depends on the youth. The core figure of the youth you have, productive youth. So you put all these projections together. That is where you break the line to see, per the statistics, per the figures, what are my assumptions and the realities. Now you realize that, like I said, NPP came before 2016. You know, we have to go for policy credibility with the World Bank, where there were freeze on employment and other things. So you look at, for 3-4 years, the number of students that gone through our universities and were waiting to be employed. Here is it that we didn't create conducive private environment, working force. And that has been the core principle of the New Patriotic Party. That every country, when the private sector is strong, is out there, the growth of every country is within the private sector. Government cannot do all the employment.
No, we agree.
Government cannot.
I understand that.
If you look, the employment rate of government staff is just hovering around 700,000.
So that's big. That's big.
You know, that is huge. But
for
when
public
you
sector is big.
Public sector, you know, the World Bank, IMF has always said that, look, it looks like government is even spending more on services because of its working force. And for that matter, they were looking at, you know, that has been the conversation for a long time. Until this government came and said, look, we need our people to be employed. We need our sectors to work at our facilities. We need the teachers out there. And government owns most of those institutions. So you cannot put a freeze
So
on
for instance, when we're planting for food and jobs, I was made to believe that it was actually absorbing a lot of the youth. You know, and, you know, millions of figures were, I mean, you know, millions were told were going to be employed through that process. And I'm saying that how much is the size of our agri sector, to the extent that we're thinking about, say, creating 3 million jobs? So then I ask myself, where are the 3 million hands? So how do we do the calculation? Is it the man who does the planting is one job? If 4 people carry one sack, so it makes it 5? And 6, 7, how do we count it?
We have the formal, informal.
Yes, I understand that.
Employment.
I understand that.
The formal ones are the ones you have the data, the everything that goes, then the informal ones. Now when we come to the farming sector, you realize that it's not just about the one man who owns the farm. In fact, the size of the farm determines the number of working force he or she would need. It starts from tilting the land.
So you need a tractor operator?
Tractor operator.
He has a job there.
He has a job there. And the tractor operator doesn't work alone. Work with about 2 or 3 people in addition. You have those who clear the lands. We have now, thank God, there are technological advancements in farming, in all this. But yet, in this part of our world, we still have the manual, majority of people doing the manual farming. So you add all to that, because about 4 acres or 1 acre of land, you don't expect him to use just one tractor. He will still need the manpower to assist. So you look at that, growing that, through that, those who do the spraying, those who do the planting, there are mechanized way of planting and other things, we all know. So you add up all this. After that, you look at those who harvest, you look at the market. For somebody who say, oh, but this is only seasonal. There are seasonal crops, and we have crops that yield throughout. So you break through the seasonal and the year-round plant. And that's why government has been so much concerned about getting sustainable, what do you call it? I want to use the right word for those crops.
All right. Okay. So, it will look like it's not going to be.
You have a sustainable. It's not going to be seasonal.
Right. Okay.
We have the seasonal crops, and then we have this. So those are the things. So you look from the tilting of the land to harvesting and then to warehousing, and then to sales.
Let me say that I'm waiting for Nana Adubia Kranting, who is the Deputy Communication Officer at Greater Accra NDC. But
she's not making
no, she'll come. Then I have Joyce Zempare, Deputy Director of Communication.
When you omit my middle name, I always have a fight with you.
Oh, really? Which is the one?
Konoki.
Really? Yes. You love that one, isn't it?
I love it.
Okay. Good. You know, so we've talked about the jobs, okay? Before your friend joins us here, you talked about the jobs, and you've shown me the creative manner in which we must count these numbers. Otherwise, some people are just blown off if we talk about 5 million jobs and these number of, you know. So this is one of the highlights of the budget. You know, they want to strengthen the private sector, want to strengthen institutions so that they have the capacity to absorb, you know, because you just mentioned, you know, quite a few minutes ago that when the armed forces were looking for young men and women, the push. Yesterday I passed by the Airport State Domain. I saw it for myself. And I was like, wow, what's up? So this is one of the, and then another one, to stop the leakages. The finance minister was like, tell me something about the leakages.
You know,
when we say leakages, what are we talking about?
You know, public sector, that has been a to and fro subject for every government, the difficulties, and I'm happy of the digitization of our own public public service structure.
Right.
You understand? You are not going to have 100% way of minimizing or
eradicating leakages,
but you are confident on making a huge gain from that. What we know of, I know if you want to start it.
Come on.
You know, we've always have issues of ghost names.
Right, okay.
People who have vacated posts, people who are on retirement, people who are not, their names are not supposed to be on the payroll, and yet we have them there.
Right.
All those things are leakages that we need to block.
Okay.
Beyond that, our world of contracts, our mode of, there are a lot of payments and things that are done that when you see the figures, you ask yourself, how did it happen? You understand?
So we've talked about one more. The first pillar is to make sure that we create a lot of jobs, according to the finance minister.
Sure.
And the second pillar of the financial,
block the leakages.
Block the leakage. But leakage also means that apart from what you're looking at, it means that we must also be looking at government expenditures.
Of course.
Yes. So I think that's critical. I don't know to what extent.
And that is why in this mid-year review, the finance minister made us know that, look, government is not going to ask for, he's never going to go back to ask for more money. Government is going to be disciplined on his spending.
Okay.
To make, because, you know, gone were the days when government brings budget, I want to spend maybe 1 trillion. Before you realize government is back, I think I need this amount. There were no fiscal discipline. But when you're able to discipline yourself, you know, you put restrictions on yourself. You are able to pay yourself, you are able to buy yourself and say, look, I'm not going to go beyond this. Whatever I have, I need to work diligently with it. Then I can account for that. And when there's accountability to whatever is given to you, that is you see that you're able to block some of those leakages.
Yes. Let me go back again. You see, you have a system where government says, I'm not going to ask for more money. Government introduced new taxes, and you know, of course, yesterday I had a discussion with the MP for Ho Central and Mr. Kokofo of EPA. They were here, and they threw light on, you know, the expectations and all that. What was central to this whole thing is the fact that for the Ho Central, you know, MP, he was like, they should cut down on government expenditure, because then if you're talking about, you don't just go out there and say, I want to block leakages. Also look at how much you spend, you know, within the confines of central administration. The executive should look at it. And I was wondering, what does it, what
he should have come out, you need to come out with a specific expenditure.
Well, he may not be able to have it. He may not be able to
you don't speak in vacuum. If you think government needs to cut down on its expenditure, those are the places I think government is spending so much. Then we know.
So I mean,
then we can go tackling that issue.
Right.
But when you come out to say, oh, government should cut down on expenditure,
What is it that you are expecting?
What is it that you're expecting?
Right. Okay.
Is it about appointment of executives? Is it about, what is it? You need to tell me.
Right. Okay. So for you, the leakage is more about the public sector.
Look, you see,
it cuts across.
It cuts across.
Right. Okay.
Wherever we find that there are leakages, I'm not going to say that only in the public sector.
Right.
It cuts across everywhere.
Okay.
You remember the school feeding program where we have heads of institutions,
okay,
passing foodstuffs and things?
Okay.
Are they not all leakages? Somebody is creating the vacuum, creating the vacuum that this one is not there for other expenditure.
All right. Okay.
It's there.
All right. Okay.
So those are, it cuts across.
So it came with certain pillars, and we discussed them a lot. But what is also interesting is the fact that government says, sets aside 23% of budget for education. That 23% of the budget is going to be for education.
Yeah.
And I think that is welcome news.
Yes.
Because we've always been crying that there should be more money pumped to education system. I don't know if you listened to yesterday and the ingredients that went into that.
Of course, because
what is government going to spend on in terms of education? Is it going to be recruitment of new teachers?
There's going to be recruitment of new teachers. Infrastructure is one thing. Okay. Government has given himself a time frame to go to win himself out of this double track system, which he has started and still want to continue. Given that within some period, within 5 years, if it was 7, it was brought down to 5. We think we can do much better than that. Government wants to hasten on that to make sure that it creates more, build more infrastructures within our schools, and then cut down this double track system. And then beyond that, building the capacity of our teachers.
Right.
Not alone employing them and leaving them. There should be continuous assessment. There should be continual
education.
No,
service training.
Service training.
We have to spend money on that.
We have to spend money on that.
Yes, okay.
You understand?
That's what very interesting thing. When I read it, I said that. Well,
you understand? Because we all know and we all believe that education is the bedrock.
Is the key. Yeah.
It's the key.
Right.
That opens the door to all the opportunities.
Right. Okay.
My father says, look, if I build you 10 mansions, today if I'm not there, and without the knowledge, you sell them off.
Yes, of course.
But when you have the education, when you are giving the education as in fact, that's the best legacy you can give to any child you bring forth.
Exactly.
With education, you can go everywhere. You can do anywhere, anything, and be anywhere, anytime.
Right. Okay.
And you can live.
I see. All right. Okay.
So if you have a government who is determined and who has no shred of doubt and wants to spend 23% of its budget on education, that will tell you what is a government that's committed to the well-being and welfare of the Ghanaian child and the Ghanaian children.
So then we're looking at we've looked at the issue of education. We look at the issue of the creation of jobs, and then the sectors in which the government wants to. But which other things did you take note of in terms of this media budget review?
Oh yes, like you said, we've spoken about that. Government said, look, he's not going to stop on any project that you're doing.
Okay.
He did make mention of roads that are still.
The issue of roads again.
Yes. Come what may, our people still look for good roads. We'll be crying for good roads.
I hope that we have the money to build them. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you don't, you still start at least to do something.
Right. Okay.
You can't throw your hands in the air and say, look, with COVID. If coming with all this COVID pandemic and global pandemic we're going through, with all this crisis, still could stand on his feet, pay nurses allowance, pay teacher allowance, give tax-free, tax holiday to health practitioners.
Yes.
Pay school feeding, pay VSHS, pay for BEC exams, pay for WASI exams. That should tell you this is a government who is determined.
Right.
A government who has the people at heart.
Right.
A government that always sleep and wake up thinking of the Ghanaian citizens. Well, so you should know. You can't do look, I always say we are humans. You can't do everything with the exception of God as human.
You can't do it.
And come what may, people will still cry.
So you should take things in their stride.
They are taking things in their stride, but he's telling you, as much as we're looking and doing this one, we are not going to leave anything.
Right, okay.
The little that we can do to make sure that those ones are also handled, are tackled, we will do that. We will do that. We are not leaving any aspect of the economy at bay. No.
Right. Okay. You know, I was reading aspects of the budget, and you know the kind of comments that the Minister for Finance made in respect of what he thinks is going to happen. You know, when it was talking to Mr. Speaker, you know, he says when they were going to a revenue collection, we said they've lagged behind it by 4.1 billion.
Sure.
So then I'm asking myself the question: if we lag behind revenue collection by 4.1 billion, how are we going to meet, and we're asking for more money? Joyce, then where are we? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
You need 4.1 billion to be able to, if you were collecting everything, to be able to cook well. I'm just using this as an example. And you lag behind 4.1 billion. And we're asking for a very good meal from Joyce. How are you going to give that one to us?
You see, that's what we
so
need.
that's what I sat back and said,
smart thinkers, smart doers to do everything. Let me paraphrase John Dramani Mahama.
Really?
You need smart thinkers.
Okay, right.
Smart achievers.
Yes.
Smart doers.
All right, so.
Yes, we all know what I always refer to the unfortunate COVID-19 global pandemic.
Right.
We know importations and all those things. But most of our revenue are generated from.
And we're not increasing taxes, you know.
We are not. Yes.
We're not increasing taxes.
You have a gap of, you know what? In fact, I didn't read that. In fact, you know, 112 pages. So we just read aspects of it, but the things. You have about 660,000, stand to be corrected, but the figure starts with 60,000 professionals who are not paying tax. They are not taxable.
You can't get hold of them.
Because their data is not in the system. And with the introduction of this thing number, the Ghana card and things,
we hope to close up with it.
Sure.
Good.
You see, there are systems being put together to make sure that you reach out to all these people.
But you see, let me tell you a secret. And I was thinking about it.
Okay.
I mean, the way fuel is made to go up, don't you think then defeats the whole purpose of I'm not going to increase taxes? Because it's an automatic adjustment formula. Once it goes up, everything triggers.
Of course, but you don't.
Joyce, you see? So I'm just like, oh, Uncle Ken, what's happening here?
Oh, but we have a government that fuel prices was going up. Fuel price was going up.
Yes.
Tariffs were going up.
Yes.
And yet other commodities like condom and cutlasses were being taxed. You have another government who said, look, I am not going to do that kind of taxing. But we know the formula for fuel pricing.
You see, I'm reading the budget of a very good finance minister who says, I'm not going to do, I don't want to, because you have outside. But then I'm asking myself, so what happens when fuel goes up? Doesn't it defeat all this?
It doesn't.
Really?
It doesn't, because if you look at the tax component on your fuel, compared to other taxes that would have gone to shore up your revenue payment, then you realize that, look, we are being undertaxed than the expected figure.
So that if that is the case, then you are going to have a situation where we probably are going to, you know, if we're not careful, we're going to ask our kids, we're going to promise our kids more than we probably can afford.
We're not going to promise our kids more than we're going to afford. We're going to let them understand. That is why we need to come up for you to understand.
Right.
The system, what we have and what we can afford.
You see, I think that there must be some form of conversation. You know, we've started it here, and I'm sure that when you leave this place, you're gonna think what I'm telling you.
Sure.
Yes, because you know, I haven't heard all this. I was listening, and I was like, oh, so on one hand we're not going to do this, but on the other hand we're going to have this thing happening. You know, whether we like it or not. I mean, in recent times we've had.
And I know leadership is listening.
Yes, fuel increment.
I can't adage. Oh,
definitely, of course.
And that is why
we need to discuss this
discussion needs to be
then
going on.
Are we going to have a free not increment in fuel prices for say 1 year? Are we assured of that? If we are sure of that, and then we don't have these increments, this taxations come in, and we have this leakages blocked, then I'm like, hey, and government says I'm not going to borrow money again. I'm not going to ask for the money. So I'm asking myself, hey, then what is government doing? So let me just use this opportunity to welcome Nana Adubia Kranting, Deputy Communication Officer, Greater Accra NDC. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Right, okay. So
and good morning.
And good morning.
Sorry for coming late.
Don't you worry, I know what's happening in town, maybe traffic or something.
Yeah.
Good. Where do you live?
No, she couldn't wake up early.
Joyce knows. I'm always there before she comes,
Yes, Joyce, so Joyce has been helping me to understand a few things. It's been very interesting. Okay. We've had a very interesting discussion. And she's been giving us highlights, and we've also been telling her what we think about what happened yesterday. Now, did you listen to the budget yesterday? Before that, did you have any expectations?
Oh, thank you so much, and good morning to you and everybody here.
Yes. And our watchers. GBC 6.
Oh wow, congratulations.
Oh yes, that's
you guys have done so well. Wow,
that's why I said everything is new.
Yeah, I can see. And the faces are also new.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh, 6 years.
Yeah, are you jealous? Are you jealous?
Wow. And you're going to see more.
I
promise.
Oh, is this a GBC?
Sure.
So tell me, what were your expectations before the budget was made?
I wasn't expecting anything much because
really?
The song really has been, because of COVID. And it's as if we don't really...
You don't think COVID hits?
Everywhere.
Yes, so it hits, isn't it?
It's not like just Ghana. It hits everywhere.
Yes.
And I was expecting that you don't come singing back to us that's because of COVID. So, and it's as if we should clap for the government that there was COVID and things went bad. I just don't get it. For me, yesterday, I wasn't expecting anything because we had the year of roads, nothing happened. Every year we hear something new and nothing happens.
Right.
We saw the president cutting sword for hospitals to be built across the nation, and nothing has really happened.
I understand from yesterday that they're going through a certain procurement process.
Oh, seriously?
That was happening. Someone told me that.
Honestly, this government is not up and doing. It's all talking, and we don't get any good thing coming out of it. And it's not like we're doing politics, because if things are put properly into the structures that we expect to happen, I'm sure I'll be comfortable.
Right.
She will, and yourself. It's about Ghana. It's not about a party.
Right.
So they should stop all the talking, because when it comes to something that will benefit them, there's no talk.
Right.
It happens. It's all about
like
action.
What? Like what?
Oh, a lot. When they know they are going, like the PDS, all these contracts and all those things that they will benefit from directly, that will go to some private pockets or to the family, as we know, because in every sector they are there and they are just milking us as a nation. So when it's about them, it is working. But when it's about Ghana, look, I was telling someone yesterday that...
no, let me just take you... You don't think that this budget was a very good one? I mean...
Oh, have you ever seen a budget that wasn't good in this country, especially during this era?
Especially the mid-year review budget. They always come and say, we want more money to show up. We want more. But this time, I mean, of course, I've seen Mr. Andrew saying that government can't make any financial demand. So he said yes. Didn't even expect it, and yes, it didn't happen. I'm saying that for some time now, don't you think that should be said to be a feather in their cap?
You were asking Auntie Joyce, should we expect that phone to go up?
Yes, I asked.
And do you know what they normally do? They'll wait at dawn of Sunday. You will not hear anything about it. By the time you go to the fuel pump, it's there.
Yes.
You have no option to buy it.
Yes, of course.
Are we expecting that nothing, if they are not demanding money? We thank God. And we pray that they will not use another avenue that we are not expecting. We just wake up, wake up, and you hear that some money is coming from somewhere, just like this vaccines.
Yes.
They will not use any other avenue to try to get money from Ghanaians. If they are saying that they are not expecting any money from us, we pray that it is so.
No, they say they are not going to introduce new taxes. They say that.
Sweetheart,
yes.
We've heard this thing over and over.
But it wasn't introduced yesterday. No new taxes.
And I'm saying that we just pray that they are not going to use another avenue.
Right.
Because they are good at that. they will tell you directly that I'm not going to take money from you, but they will pass behind you, use other contracts, use other avenues, use certain things just to make sure that they are getting money from us as Ghanaians. Right. And we've been overburdened with our taxes. And if Auntie Joyce is telling me today that we are undertaxed, I'm wondering whether she's in this country or maybe because she's in government doesn't affect her. No, but for me, I know if it does not affect her.
What she said was that there would not be the introduction of new taxes, and that if government were minded to look at the fact that it is going to block leakages, it's not asking for more money, then I was saying that I was seeing some struggle there. Then she said that, well, so we are going to have a situation where it's going to be smart thinking, where you are not calling for new taxes, and you're going to maintain fiscal discipline. So then you're going to call for men. And he rightly quoted John Muhammad Ramani by saying that it calls for smart thinking. She went straight to say it. So I'm thinking
happy
that
at least she was a little
generous, isn't it?
Generous. Should I? Maybe. At least she was thinking as a patriotic citizen.
Oh, really?
Oh, at least because hardly would they even want to refer to the name JM. Do you understand?
Well, of course.
That anything good comes out from that place.
Well, maybe let me correct on that. Maybe she understand my statement.
Good.
You realize when there was doomsaw,
yes,
and industries
went down,
and people were complaining. The statement he made was, it takes smart thinkers to make their business grow.
Okay. On the other hand.
On the other hand.
I see.
On the other hand.
All right. So let me listen to Nana. So let me listen to you. We had 23% of the budget to be used for education. We've also heard that leakages will be stopped. And I pushed her. I said, it's not just about stopping leakages. Others have complained about government's expenditure. So we are talking about don't only just block leakages, also make sure that government does not overspend. Then you're talking about financial discipline. Then she also drew my attention to the fact that the public sector is one area that we should also be looking at, where government is going to do a lot because of what is happening at GRA now. They put in some enforcement rules and they want to make sure they grind it to its successful, to the latter end, to ensure that nobody dodges taxes. Let me put it in the Ghanaian parlance.
We pray so. For me, I've always said that anything that works for Ghanaians, at least if my father in the village can be comfortable when he wakes up.
Okay.
You see, this whole thing boils down to, I was telling somebody yesterday, I wanted to come to that and you came.
Sorry.
That our vice president should go back to Malata. Like he did during the NDC time. He should go back to Malata and see how much one ball of kenke is being sold for. How much an olonka of gari is being sold for. The beans, those common ones that we all consume in our homes. Those were the things he was talking about. Because when we talk about budgets, we talk about money, taxes and all that. It is how we feel as Ghanaians. That I'll wake up and I can take my 5 cities, get good food to eat at least, if not for 3 times, at least twice a day. Every Ghanaian will be comfortable. That person at Agbogloshi will not have to struggle. Now you can't look. One ball of kenke cannot feed my dog.
Just
my small dog.
Let me ask you a question.
Going for 1 city 50%.
We have a public sector overbloated with people in there, and we are craving to put in more people in there by way of creating jobs, and then we have a tax system which is not expanding because people are dodging taxes. Because then I understand that we have 60,000 professionals whose name have been, so we're using the digital system to catch them. Then I'm looking for the magic word, the magic key. How would you, in the midst of all this, let Kenke expand? One Olonka become 1 city.
My brother.
When I meet people like you, genius like you, it's like, tell me, what must a government do?
You see, the public sector, over the years, we've been complaining it's overbloated.
Overbloated, yes.
You came creating more ministries. Though some of them have been merged now.
Yes.
Look under transportation, we have railways, we have aviation, which have now gone back to the
Did it create more jobs?
It gave people. The thing is, we have people who are there, like the civil servants, who've been trained. They've been on the job for all this year. They have the experience. But what do? We come in with our own people.
Ghanaians.
Yes,
Ghanaians.
we are Ghanaians.
Yes.
But we have people, technocrats who are there. Yes. Now they become, the whole thing is, as a politician, or I feel that this person was there, I met this person, and I don't trust this person. Okay. So I came with my own assistant. And the job the technocrats are supposed to do, now we bring in party people to be doing those things. And we are paying them even far more than we are paying our technocrats.
Are you sure? Okay,
so what do you expect?
Let me come back. Joyce.
The overbloating will
Your
not
sister is not interested in what budget was read yesterday. He says, look, her budget is at Agbogbloshie Market and Atlanta Market. How do you reconcile what happens at Agbogbloshie Market and the budget?
Well,
that's what your sister is saying.
The budget of every country is about the well-being, the welfare of your citizens. So whatever you go there out to tell the people, at the end should benefit the individuals down there.
Right.
Now, if she's running away from the fact that we have a global pandemic, I'm so surprised.
Not running.
I'm surprised.
No, she's saying that it's affected everybody. She knows that. But we are making the same song. That's what she's saying.
Of course. You need to let people understand.
Where are you coming from?
Of course. Why not? Why do you keep quiet mute over that? These are the realities. We know. We know. If in America, in the UK and other things, people are losing their jobs because of COVID. You have a government that nobody in the public sector can say that because of COVID pandemic has lost his or a job.
We're all being paid.
All being paid.
Yes. And on time.
People sat in the house.
And on time too.
Yes, of course. People sat, teachers sat. In fact, anytime I discuss teachers and COVID, I feel so broken because of the private schools. They were affected terribly. That those who were in the public schools were home and they were paid. None of them missed even a dime of their salary. You understand? The money you give out to them is to take care of their families and their homes. Government could have said, because of COVID, look, we still have institutions, agencies working, rationing workers, and yet government is paying them their money income. Now, let me answer the question you asked, that how does it affect?
How do you reconcile this grandeur will attack our budget and the fact that you go to Agbogbloshie, they say they're not feeling it, and this whole thing about it's not in our pocket, you're not feeling, it's out there.
Yes, it is not in our pocket, but I'm telling you that it is in your pocket because one, government have make sure that you have consistent light where you don't spend much buying fuel to power your electricity generation. GTV those days, we know, we sit in the studios when the lights go off.
But we've improved markedly now. We've got a generators working.
Oh, really? I'm waiting. And now the generators, once a while, you go to try them to see whether they're still working. Unlike those times that you have to put them on every 24 hours. You have a government who said, look, for you paying WASI, this, I'm giving that money back to you. Because you need it in your pocket. You have a government who said, look, your children should go to secondary school fully paid. I want you to have that money in your pocket. That is money government is putting in your pocket. You have the government who said, look, even with the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm giving scholarship to your children. That money, over thousands of dollars, thousands of cedis that you need to pay your child's schools, let me take care of it. Let me help you. I can't help all, but let me help some. That is money going back to you. Now, with the introduction of the growing food for yes. We know in this country we have a time. Tell me the 2020 COVID time where there was total lockdown and things. Did you experience any shortage of food? Yes, whatever it is, price will hike. There will be a little price hike. That is one thing we can never run away from.
Right. So
there will be a little adjustment.
If I understand you clearly, no matter what budget you present, people will still talk about the kinky thing.
I've told you there will still be a few who you should give it up to them, who will be there to look. Even look, when you talk about few, the number can be 1 or 1,000, but it's so collectively looking at the total sum of people you're talking about, you building the ratio between 1 and 100. Then you understand when I use the word in quote few.
But that has always been the barometer by which every government has been judged. The kinky, when they start talking about kinky and they start talking about gari and rice and millet and neri and agushi, then you begin to say what's happening, because then they say that when you go it's like this, the fish I can't buy fish I can, and you are saying that I'm building hospitals in school. I'm saying that as Ghanaians we should be able to rationalize it. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, if ladies are getting what I'm talking about.
Yes, but when the politician decides, and now our vice president, after doing the kenke and the Gari politics, is telling us that it is now demons and principalities who are after our economy. Then I don't know what we have gotten to as
she should tell us, she should quote him and give us the exact place he said it, and in reference to what?
Okay.
Say it. You don't just throw anything out
in reference to what?
No, you are saying that. You are saying that.
As if what I'm saying, you've not heard it.
That what? What did you say?
That our economy is not being attacked by... He was trying to tell people that they should try to fight the economy, because we have principalities and demons.
Let me help you.
Now fighting the economy. Someone who did the kenke and the Gari politics.
It is when the president went.
I beg you, let me finish. Who was at every conference? He would not miss every opportunity to make the Mahama government look incompetent, look bad in the eyes of Ghanaians. If now you are telling us that you now know something called principalities or demons, then I'm like, what is the science behind this one? Do you understand me?
Okay.
This a candidate or a running mate then, who at every opportunity will insult the then government, that they were incompetent. The insults were too much that you can't, some of the presses couldn't even print them. Then at the end of it, today you are telling me that people should come and help, because now we know that there is something called powers. Then, what was he thinking? That it was the...
Now, he's the one who is championing digitization of our system. Would you run away from that? He says that we need to merge, there should be a convergence where we'll be able to trace every money in this country by way of saying, oh, Kwame Waja must be the system, Joyce must be there, Nana must be there. He's the same person who's championing it.
He's championing it. So why is the devil and the principalities coming from? Because if somebody is doing something scientific, I've never seen science and this is religion or superstition come together.
I see.
And it's working. No.
So you don't see anything good in this budget?
For me, it might be good on paper. But the implementation, because for me, I have seen good things on paper. Good things have always been on paper. But how to put it into practice, how to make Ghanaians feel that this budget that was read, this is what we are getting out of it. Because we're giving water for free. And now it was, at the end of it, what happened? It came and it was skyrocketing.
Joyce,
so it's like we are paying even more than we used to.
When Joyce came in here, I had been trying to reconcile the differences, how we all think about our budget, the system, how we want it to go like. So as a city, I still struggle with how do I reconcile these views for my audience out there to say that, well, yes, we're talking about Bushi, but this budget is also good. So until the budget is implemented, Joyce, I said that to want to make statements, you know, I don't know what you
well, I mean,
but because your sister just mentioned
you had made mention of that, that you want to see the reality.
I want to see the reality on the ground. I want to see the roads. Of course. I want to see the 101 hospitals.
Yes.
I want to see everything.
Yes.
Reality.
The government has given you the word and look. And I said, look.
Don't listen to me.
Oh, I'm not listening. That's why I'm looking directly into your face. That's why I'm looking into your face.
Come on,
you understand? Because you know this one district, one hospital in the agenda 111 came somewhere close to 2020.
Yes, but
so yes, by before.
Yes.
And that is where you should see that a government that is committed to his words.
Right.
You know, when the president was going around saying this thing, their candidate, former president, was saying, oh, they are just the usual campaign messages. No, this is a man who is committed to his work. He has said it. 2017, from 2007, when he spoke about free SHS, they said it was never attainable. It's not. That can never be possible. Where do you have John Dramani Mahama say if he has 2 billion Ghana cedis, he will not invest into a free SHS? But this is a man who is committed to his word, and here we are. Free SHS has come to stay. Then when she
let's come. Let us start. Ghanaians will say land. So let's start land.
When she made reference to the vice president, say there were principalities and things. Look, it was when he went out to, you know, they set up this committee to go to the Azul Loading Bay.
Right, okay.
And that is where they realized that in a day, one individual, at one point, it looks like within Greater Accra also, who pocket 350,000 Ghana cedis. Then he said, yes, we have people who have turned themselves. And that is where that quote came from. I'm surprised that these are brothers, siblings, in the opposite
camp.
We'll
take things out of context.
Being incompetent is the word they've never wanted in government. And even in opposition will still remain incompetent in dealing with issues and worse.
So that
you see, you don't take a statement somebody has made, coin it your own way and throw it out there. For it was under that context when he went that he would make mention of it.
I see.
Hello, if you have people like this fighting the economy, and those are the things we're talking about, sealing the loopholes, making sure there are no leakeages. These are the leakages within one sector. So that's where he said that one person can take 300. Look, a group of persons. One lady, in fact, she happens to bear my my country name, so I feel my traditional name, so I feel so this thing. That lady got missing from her point.
I see.
Of this, because they realize that look, this has, you know, we all complain.
Understand, I know.
When we see these trucks heavily loaded
and yet
on our streets,
yes, and we can't get
destroying our roads. That has been built with age, expanded age. You see, then you see them destroying, and the most painful thing is most of these trucks are not even our local.
Now, let me ask your sister before
that are coming from other neighboring
countries. Let me ask your sister before we go. Now, the finance minister has promised on his own that you say we will stick to budget targets, discipline. What have you got to say about that?
Before I come to that, so from what my sister is saying here, so now the vice president is calling Ghanaians demons and principalities.
No, that's what
Can you imagine? She's not listening.
I have listened and I heard you.
No, that's what.
So what she said. No, the vice president is now calling us principalities.
He's saying what he's saying is that. What he's saying that.
No, because what did you say? If people, you met people, and you are saying that because of these demons and principalities, I'm not calling them so.
No, I don't think I heard that.
So what did you hear?
What I heard him say is that if that level of dissipation, those who are responsible.
So they are demons and principalities.
He says, what can account for this level of dissipation? It's a mystery.
Somebody who calls himself a scientist.
Well,
in this digital age.
So tell me, budget discipline, that's what we're looking at now. Cut off.
We should just be disciplined as a nation.
Right, okay.
We haven't.
Right.
We've not gotten there.
Okay.
So if the finance minister, for these 3 years to come, is saying he wants to, we pray he does.
All right, okay.
Because seriously, nothing good comes out of his budget.
Okay.
Because look, most of the roads has been captured since 2017. Over and over, and nothing really has happened. So if the president or the finance, because obviously it's coming from the president, it's a cabinet thing, that they are going to build roads, we expect them to do that.
Right.
If they are going to build hospitals, we expect them to do that. Because if one district, one factory couldn't work, I don't expect one district, one hospitals to do. When we were building, they were telling us that it was photoshops. Now they are putting. I remember when their ministers got COVID, that's where they went to arrest, because it was the hospitals that were photoshopped.
So
it was now.
Your prayer is that
it was now a guest house for them to go arrest. At least they should be disciplined.
Okay.
Look, like I was saying, there's too much talk with this government.
All right.
With that, we gave when we had not even promised.
Okay.
And at least things are there to show. Because the thing is, if really they meant business, look, for this 5 years, would have seen things working.
Ladies,
nothing is working in this country.
Ladies,
I think you can.
I have quite a number of stories to look at, but time will not permit. I have enjoyed every bit of you guys. You should have come early, seriously, so that we give a good breakfast.
Did I hear you say you should have come early?
I'm talking about. I'm not talking about.
Okay.
Please don't go away. Don't go away. The breakfast show still runs on. Okay, stay tuned.